Hey guys, my name is Jerry of Jerry Rigged, and just wanting to go through and do a little instructional video. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I don't have my shotgun mic. I'm not sure exactly where it's at, so I'm having to talk a little bit louder, and I'm not usually a loud person, but anyway, welcome to Jerry Rigged, and what I'm doing today is going to go ahead and I have a inflatable pontoon boat, just a one-person boat that I use for fishing a lot of small lakes and ponds, and I had gotten sick of being on the hard seat that I couldn't rotate around or anything, so I decided I'd go ahead and get me a better seat, get me a swivel system, and to cut down on some time, I figured I'd go ahead and buy some stuff to just upgrade everything. So what we're going to talk about today is installing a boat seat swivel. This is made by Marine Raider. Also, that's this thing right here. And also I bought the Marine Raider seat release quick disconnect bracket that you can use to install in here. This is actually part of the frame that I use for my inflatable pontoon boat, and this is actually where the seat usually goes on there. And if you guys see most of the inflatable pontoons, mine's an older one. It's probably 9 or 10 years old, I would think. And I bought it used, so it wasn't that expensive. But this one's a pretty heavy frame, and so when I get it out and start installing it, it takes time. You know, it's got the uncomfortable plastic bucket seat on there that doesn't swivel, and so after a couple hours, 3 hours and that, I'm usually pretty stiff, you know, so I just decided I needed something a little bit better. But part of the problem I have is that the installation time, you know, I've got to put the two frames in here, and they don't fit that great, and you know, plug in all the pins and take the seat in and screw it all in and everything, and inevitably I do it in the wrong order, so it takes more time. And actually I wish I could show you the frame, just how big the other part is that goes over the pontoons. But for now we'll just show you this. And anyway, so one reason I'm making this video is one of the problems I had is that neither of these things comes with really adequate directions. I bought them from a local retailer, and if you look at the box, I've already installed this. I don't think you really need to know too much about it other than I use some like 1/4 inch flat head screws and the little wing nuts here with a lock washer and that kind of stuff on there just to hold it on. But those are for this kind of setup, which I don't think there's probably 100 people that still have this boat probably. So, but if you need one, I use 2.5 inch screws. You can get them in 3. That's probably going to be good for anybody. I think probably now the new ones that are out are so much lighter than mine. The frame is so much lighter, you would never need this anyway. But anyway, so one of the issues I ran into installing this is that if you look at the picture that comes with the box, it doesn't give you a lot of guidelines, and they don't really tell you, even though this one is actually set up right on this picture right here. If you look at them online, like at Academy or some other store's website, these L brackets, I guess they're called, when you first try to put them on, you have to do it all yourself, and the only hardware they give you is the 4 screws right here. I had to buy these to mount it. But when you first look at the picture, or you look at their, I wish I kept those directions. They're actually so minuscule, but yeah, here they are. So the directions right here, I mean, literally, I had to get a magnifying glass out to look at it. And the picture being in black and white, I'm red green colorblind. It even makes it harder for me to read it. So basically what I did first was I installed these L bars, and I installed them with these brackets here being in closer and this one being this way, so everything was smaller. So when I tried to put this swivel seat thing in, it wasn't going. And I mean, you know, it's anytime you're a guy, you're going to get pissed off and cuss and rant, rave, and everything else trying to install this, and which is exactly what I did, and was almost to the point of taking it back, taking the swivel back. And I got up the next morning with fresh eyes and looked at it, and I said, you know what, I can move these brackets out. Why don't I? And I moved the brackets out, re-screwed it, tried to slide it in there, went in like a charm. And then I noticed on Academy's website that somebody had made a comment that it was totally worthless, that they had put it together, they bought 2 different brackets, I mean these swivel bracket things here, or the seat things, and they wouldn't work, and he took it back, whatever. But you know, I was like, well, I know what the guy went through, so that's what is actually making me make this video, because I just got lucky and saw it with fresh eyes and didn't take it back. So anyway, once you get installed And like I said, go with these inside lines here, the inner two and the closest two like that. Install them so it gives you a little bit more room to slide it in there. That's actually a 7 inches across swivel seat. I know for the purpose of what it says on the thing, it's like 6-inch screw brackets or something, which again was confusing. But inevitably, I got through it. I installed this on here. It's on here pretty tight now. And I went ahead and bought a better seat because I wanted something that I could swivel around on. You know, if you ever fish a pontoon boat, these inflatable ones, you know, you don't really, there's no swiveling in the seat unless you've got a really high-tech one. So I figured I can go ahead and do this. I've got a little room behind me there, and I basically, you know, I have one of the milk carton crate things that I made was put some rod holders on the back, and that's basically where I keep stuff like my anchor, rope, you know, all my fishing gear. Got 3 rod holders, so I've got 3 rods there. I usually have one laying beside me, so I can switch out a lot, so I don't have to retie all the time and just for different purposes. But anyway, I went ahead and I mounted this seat thing on here, and it's just got 4 screws that come with these seats. And I think this is actually, the seat's actually a Marine Raider 2. I think it was like 30 bucks, you know, but look how padded that is. And compared to those hard plastic ones, yeah, I don't think I'm going to have any issue. It's a little bit more narrow and it doesn't go out as far, so I won't be sitting down so much in it. I wanted to be up a little bit. I think that would be better for me. I'm getting older. And so anyway, but just to let you know, whenever you get one of these, and I think somebody else made a comment on these too, the swivel seat things, you get them and you look at them and you're like, it tells you on here, you know, not to try to turn it yourself. Well, you know, it kind of helps when you're putting the screws in if you've got this thing where it's not like this, but it's actually like, let me see if I can turn it without having to move everything. Probably not. So anyway, you can actually turn it. Let me see if I can do it here. Okay, so that's the best way if you're installing it, is to have it like that, so that you can get to the screw holes a lot easier and clamp it down. In my case, I couldn't budge it. I mean, I tried everything to budge it before I had it screwed down. You know, you're trying to hold one thing and swivel, it's not going to work. So I went through the hard process of screwing it down first, and then I said, well, let me see if this thing turns. It does. And it's not as difficult as it looks. I'm just, you know, old and weak and I'm sitting on the floor. But anyway, so once you get it installed, it does swivel, and there's some plastic thing in there with the ball bearings that wrap around those. Don't remove those. I actually thought about it. I said, maybe that's why it's not swiveling. Maybe I should cut those out. It doesn't tell you that in the little bit of directions that it has, which is literally right there, and it's nothing. I mean, it just tells you, it's got like 4 things on there. But anyway, put your bottom bolts in there, tighten it down, put it on your seat, determine which direction you want this thing to go. Make sure that you do follow what directions they give you on here. Save you a little bit of time. When this thing comes in here, it's got 2 springs that go down in here, and you need to put those springs down in there and follow the rules. Put something on there that's straight across so you can kind of hold it in place while you push that down, holding the screws down in there, and then install the L bars right there. That way, those screws, once the L bars are in, are going to push that up, and that's your locking mechanism for when this bracket thing is on here. So that's what holds everything down. So anyway, so like say for example, I'm going to take my boat out in a couple days. Hopefully this all works when I take it out. But anyway, you just basically, in my case, I got this just so when I get there, I can just have this middle bar, get that installed with the frame, and once everything's installed like this, because like I said, you're going to have one thing over here that holds the pontoon and another thing over here. So I can just come over here and hopefully, again, I'm sitting on the floor and I'm old, so it's not like this is easy. But all I got to do, should be able to do, is just get this in the right place, just slide it in there. Alright, it's locked. You can hear that. So now, let's see, it's totally locked in place and my wing nuts are holding it there. Probably, maybe make sure that they're tight as yeah, it's not as tight as I thought. So anyway, I'll tighten that one down a little bit. Yeah. So it's going to rotate a little bit, but you can see now that if I'm sitting in the pontoon, sitting with my pontoon and fishing, and I need to reach back and get into my, my storage back there, all I got to do is swivel a little bit, and I can fish. You know, if I need to turn, the wind's turning me around in my pontoon, which you know it's inevitably going to do if you live in a place like Oklahoma like I do. So anyway, that is how it works. And at the end of the day, when I'm ready to go home, and I've got a Toyota Camry, so when I deflate the pontoons, I fold those up, put them in the back of the car, put everything else in the back of the car, everything fits, and all I should be able to do when I'm leaving is taking this apart. Instead of putting this all together in one place, I don't want to. I think you can just pull up on this, and it slides right out. So I hadn't seen anybody make an actual video of this, so I figured it's a time saver. Sorry if I put you through 5 minutes of talking gibberish. It should have been a little bit shorter, but anyway, it's a pretty quick process. If you have any questions, feel free to leave some comments at the bottom. I'll try to answer them for you. Just the only thing I can tell you, if you haven't already heard it, just make sure you go to Home Depot or something like that. Get you the hardware that goes in here. These are, like I said, what I put in here was a 1/4 inch. I think it's I wish I had them out, like 20 by 10 flat. These are flat screws on the top. I had originally bought round, and of course it's bumping into everything, so that didn't work, and I had to take those back. But then get you some at the bottom right here. Just got the washers and some wing nuts on the bottom, and they should hold okay. It's locked a little bit better. Okay. And hey, good luck. If I can help you in any way, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I am not a builder or mechanical type, but this was fun. I feel like a guy. Guys, have a good day.